Like, hello, welcome to the Honest Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob, and this is the Age of Sigmar Stat Center with Owen Jackson, my co-host for the show. We bring you tournament results, we bring you lists from winning events, we bring you battle plans, and most importantly, rarely do we bring you stats.
Nailed it. Man.
This is actually the second time I've done this intro. First time I just forgot to turn the stream on, which is why we're late. Owen Jackson in the house.
Hey man, how are you? You alright?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you very much. I'm excited about talking about the results because there was 4 events over the weekend, which is pretty crazy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. There was loads going on. I do agree with you, Rob. I think someone might need to phone trading standards though, because there isn't a lot of stats that go on here. We've got numbers. We've got some numbers, right?
Mm-hmm. We've got some numbers. We actually do have stats. They're put into the stats program. But actually, our stats man, instead of we've had the kind of overarching stats for Age of Sigmar 2. We've got that as a file. Maybe we'll do a breakdown of that next week as kind of like our final hurrah for Age of Sigmar 2. But we've been mainly setting up all the things that we need for Age of Sigmar 3. So that's kind of been our process. Much like Games Workshop, they just don't do an FAQ. We just don't do 1 week worth of like stats numbers, basically. So that's where we're at. But that's mainly so we can get stuff ready. Loads of things coming soon. Owen, should we just fly through stuff? Number one, how was your weekend? Fun time? How's your week been?
Yeah, man. I think you might know how my weekend went.
Yes.
No, it was great, man. It was good to see you and hang out and watch lots of really good Warhammer. But it's a funny time, right, Rob? That is one thing I would say for the Stats Center and for Warhammer in general. Has Owen just woken up? Yes, I have. Hi, Gabe. So it is a funny time, right? We're kind of at the end of an edition and... Mm-hmm. You know, you kind of. I'm still going to play some more games of AOS 2, but we're in that weird transition where we don't really know where our armies and our lists are going. But people are having a great time all around the world playing the last. Maybe people are going right. I'm going to put this on the table for the last time in AOS 2 before everything changes, right?
Before everything changes, before you can't take however many of each unit you want to take. And instead you can take a few less. Thanks to Riemann Nightspear for resubscribing. Super nice of you. Also to Pino for subscribing. So big love. Some big ones. Rima Nightspear gifted a gift subscription. Thanks very much. Some lovely seeing you all in the chat. Obviously, I see a bunch of you. Kench, thanks for the leak. Crazy Horse wants to point out 5 Fangs and Sotek listed ACO this weekend and not a single one of the top 15. That really reconfirms my idea that North America just can't play Warhammer as well as everyone else. But... that's something we can come back to another time. Talk about that. Owen's not quite sure about that particular.
Hot takes. Well, mate, as a serial fence sitter, I've obviously got no opinion on that. Have I, Rob? Right?
I said it one time, and you're just running with this. Yeah, you're not sitting on your fence about that dig, are you?
No. Maybe those Fangs of Sotek players should just play better. Is that what we're saying? No.
Maybe.
Actually. There are ways to beat it. There are definitely ways to beat it, and there were no Seraphon doing particularly well in the other tournaments around the world this weekend.
They weren't, which does reinforce Crazy Horse's point. So there's some real fair conversation there, and also sometimes they didn't do very well at the Super Series as well, and we saw them play quite a bit. Riemann Nightspear, thanks for subscribing. Who says can't wait to represent Skaven on Saturday. At the off-the-shelf tournament. I'm looking forward to that. And Stu Redacted, thank you. Thanks to all the podcast bros. Stay hydrated. And also thanks to everyone on YouTube for being a thug or a princess. Thanks to everyone on Patreon. Owen, what's the first event we need to talk about this weekend?
I think it would be remiss not to start with what looks to be the biggest event of the weekend. Actually, no, you're covering the one in America. Maybe that had more players. But we had 60 players. At
72 at ACO. That means, that means I get to go first?
If you want to.
Or no, we'll break it up. You go, then I go. Then we'll break it up.
Okay. Yeah. Like a game of 40k, right? You go, I go, and then.
Or we could roll for priority if you want. I don't know if you got a dice to hand.
I normally would. I tell you what. Let's just say I rolled a 6.
I've rolled a 6 as well. So.
Okay, sweet. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to start.
You carry on.
Jesus. This is the Sydney Slaughter, run by the Mortally Wounded podcast. That's James and Chris. Over in Padstow in New South Wales. So, this is a regular, one of the big ones on the Aussie scene. So the pack was out some time ago, which I had a look at. And, really solid pack.
And Chris loves fucking with the rules, doesn't he?
He does. I think, you know what, if there's one thing, we're going to get to it in a minute, but if there's one thing that ever epitomized kind of like a bit of a meme in the gaming world and in tabletop wargaming, which is read the pack. If you were ever going to read a pack, and then use that information to then profit and perhaps win the tournament. I think this was one where reading the pack has really made a massive difference to the winner. So yeah, it was basically 60 players, $85 for the ticket, which is £46, which is probably one of the more expensive Aussie events. But looking at it, and
still too cheap.
Yeah, still excellent value. And there were loads of categories, for like you had best in order, best in alliance. You had loads of really good hobbying and painting. I'm pretty sure that Ash McEwen took away, a prize with his amazing Mega Gargants, and AOS Coach was there doing really well. I think he picked up Coolest Army. So there was loads of really cool hobby all over, all over Twitter. But obviously there's quite a few people going there to take out the tournament. So the rounds, Rob, missions in advance, which is becoming more and more of a trend.
That's the way.
I've really gone full circle on this. Smorgan in the chat should have been there, and I think that there was some COVID restrictions, and also there was the rural rampage in Bendigo that got cancelled. Unfortunately, the whole event got canned. So unfortunately the COVID is kicking the Aussie community in the balls just as much as everyone else worldwide. So, but yeah, fair play. They had 60 players here in Padstow. Now they were playing. The pack was missions in advance, so we're talking about escalation. Round 1, and then they played Forcing the Hand, Total Commitment, Shifting Objectives, Total Conquest. So, a good pack, some varied missions. No Scorched Earth in there, Rob, which I know is a favourite of yours. But
also no Blade's Edge.
No Blade's Edge, so props. I think Forcing the Hand, excellent mission. Escalation. With Escalation, Forcing the Hand, and Total Commitment, there's 3 missions in a row where you start very far apart. So teleports and fast movement would have done really well on that. But then shifting is obviously very beneficial to battle line and to grinding in the middle. And then I think personally Total Conquest is the best mission in the GHB 2020 and a really good round 5 pick. So
yes,
nice set of missions. In terms of winners, it was taken out by, he comes up quite a lot in the show. And obviously, regardless of the army he takes to events, Joel Graham always does well. So our winner, the Sydney Slaughter winner for 2021 is Joel Graham with a Bone Splitters list running Bone Grids.
It's a big event to take out. Like, he'll be really happy about that, Joel. He'll be very chuffed. To have taken that out. So big shouts out to him.
And taking it out with an unfavoured part of a book, which gets taken a lot. You see a lot of Auric War clans with Iron Jaws and Big War, but not a huge amount of Bone Splitters outside Ben running Bone Grins when it first came out and taking out the Dutch GT. We haven't really seen Splitters doing that well, have we?
No, and the only person to 5-0 as well, so that's really impressive. Personally, I think you're pushing a rock uphill with Bone Splitters, but of course we haven't talked about the fact that the Anvils of Apotheosis was available at this event.
Yes, so that's what I was making reference to when I was saying read the pack. Having looked at Joel's Path to Glory, he did actually only face one other army that took an Anvils of Apotheosis hero, and that was in his round 5, and that was just a small little 90-point sort of caster. But yeah, I've never really looked at Anvils, but I did have a look at it in research for this, and Gutsman in the chat is shouting it out there. Effectively, he just created a hero which isn't available within the Splitters book, and I suppose that's the point of Anvils of Apotheosis, right? But he effectively maxed it out, and he put a Bone Splitters hero atop a mount. So he ended up having... I thought it was a 4-up ethereal, but Gutsman in the chat is saying it's a 3-up ethereal because don't Bone Splitters start at a 6-up save, and he gave it 2. He was able to pump it up because you can use the same additions multiple times. So he effectively ended up with an ethereal 3-up save character with 16 wounds that you can't retreat from and has a 4-up DPR. So effectively, I think most of the time he just YOLO, and he gave it Breath of Gorkamorka, so it's 10-inch move, and if you roll, you can make it fly and double move. So like what people were doing with the Rogue Idol, but harder to kill because he's ethereal, and he had a nasty little spell on him, and he had some good output. He had 5 attacks, 3s and 2s, Ren 2, damage 4. So it wasn't just a tanking piece. He could go in and slap. But yeah, I do think that this Anvils of Apotheosis hero, Joel's made reference to it on Twitter. I think it was that piece that was, winning all the games for him.
Yeah. So one of the things, that he did say, obviously, and Smorgan's repeated in the chat, because it's bone splits, you've also got additional +1s to save. So if you already given it from spell laws and other stuff inside of their army and ability. Donaldinho, thanks for resubscribing. Big love to you. And hey, Chris, I hope camping was fun, and I hope it wasn't too intense.
Yeah, bear in mind, Rob. Obviously, he's made it ethereal, so you can't buff that save then. So all those buffs would be just going on to the lads, the troops. Because if I talk to you about the list top to bottom very quickly, he has his swamp boss Edric's on Margul, so a 400-point Anvils hero where he's maxed out everything. And then he had another little hero, and then he had 4 Wardocs dancing and buffing away, and then 30 Savage Oryx, 30 Savage Oryx Arrow Boys, 5 Boar Boys, and then 2 units of 10 more boys in a cop ruck. So if I'm not mistaken, it's like a 5 or 6 drop list. And yeah, I think it just goes to show, I mean, all the buffs and everything, he ended up using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, he used like 10 or 11 different ways of buffing up this one character to make him super obnoxious. But people are saying in the chat, like, oh, look at this, this is, and it's valid. There's 2 arguments here. It's valid. It's like saying, oh, look, somebody's manipulated the rules to create this thing which is quite obnoxious within the build. But everyone had the opportunity to do so, right?
No, I don't think it's a valid argument at all. He just used the rules.
Yeah.
All love to Chris and everyone else, but I wouldn't put this event in the stats. It's a narrative event. As soon as you include Anvils of Apotheosis as a narrative event, it doesn't belong in match play, my opinion. And that's my opinion, not the facts. But it's just silliness that you can't prepare for. It's just some silliness that turns up you can't prepare for. That's what I'm out. And so I'm just like, ugh, gross. But big shout out to Joel for doing it. Right? He's like, cool, here we go, bosh, bosh, bosh. Right, who came second? What was second and third, Owen?
Second was a list that we've talked about before, run by a player that we talked about before. So this is Matt Campbell. If I'm not mistaken, I think he normally plays Khorne. And he was running the Tempest Eye Aetherguard Windrunners list. So he went 4-1 with that list, which was, all of the Pistoliers running around and shooting. And he came second and he's got a Battle Mage on Griffin in there, Rob. So I always think that's a 300-point tax. And he's not even using it to fill out a battalion or anything. He's just got it in there because he's a bad man and he, likes to play 300 points down. But that's not true. I'm sure there's loads of tech in there that I don't see. But so with it,
battalion, right?
Yeah. So he's got a couple of gun haulers in there, loads of Pistoliers, and insane movement and shooting in multiple phases. It's cool. And then a nice Griffin, free guild general on Griffin for the, a nice little bully piece. Yeah, the whole army's really fast and. So he's obviously playing really well into these missions where the objectives are quite far apart.
Mm-hmm.
That was Matt in second. And then in third was Rod McMurdo, and he ran an Ironjaw's Iron Sons list. So this was, Mech Boss or Maw Crusher, I believe in my notes. Yeah, it's who Joel beat in his round 5. So this was, an pretty classic sort of Iron Fist build. But yeah, if we very quickly look, I can give you the info on what Joel beat on the way through.
I'd like to hear it, please.
And this just goes, I love it so much, Rob. Are you ready? So round 1, he played Dracothian's Tail Seraphon, which had a Dread Saurian in the list.
Classic Australia right there.
Round 2, it was Slanesh with Archaon in the Celestian Host with triple Soul Grinder in the Demon Steel contingent. So, I mean... He might not have an Anvils of the Apotheosis hero, but he's an absolute legend in my eyes.
I think the guy who wrote that list is from the Anvils of Apotheosis. Yeah, that's the only way he could have got so mad. Great work, yeah.
And then Joel in his round 3, he beat a very hero-heavy OBR list. So this was Mortis Praetorians with Catacross, Arcan, and Xantos, and then some Death Riders and some Mortek Guard. I've seen that list popping about a bit, and then he beat an Urbaz list, Caradron Overlord's Urbaz, with an Ironclad full of Thunderers and some Gun Haulers and a big unit of Sky Wardens.
Mm-hmm.
And then, in round 5, then he took out the Iron Sons, Ironjaws list that came in third. So, it sounds like there was some really interesting lists there. Yeah, and I think, I do agree that everyone plays they were all playing the same version of Age of Sigmar, weren't they? They all had the same opportunities to create an Anvils hero. Just looks like Joel created the biggest, baddest Anvils hero of the weekend, right? And it played. I think the thing that he did was he made that hero, and then he was able to put the glowing tats on it.
Who's criticising anyone for taking it?
Oh, I don't know.
Like, fucking what? Like, if it's in the pack, someone's like, you can bring a bazooka to this event, you'd be like, oh, fucking sweet.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what the fuck? That's the first thing you do. You just be like, right, what's the biggest bazooka I could get? Do bazooka arms count? Like, can I have, like in the Dawn of the Dead? No, that's not the one. Doesn't matter. With the vampires in the titty bar, when he's got the gun penis. Do you know the one I mean?
Mate, I don't obviously stay up late enough as you and watch weird films.
You should watch that. It's a really good film. I can't remember what the film is called at this point. I think it's Danny Trejo. Dust Till Dawn. Thanks, boys. But yeah, I'd get a bazooka that was that, is what I'm saying.
Sweet.
Which is what Joel effectively did.
Yeah, man. And he smashed it out of the park. I do think the thing that was really cute is that he was able to put the 4-up DPR, which is just an extra layer, which is obviously from the Bone Splitters book, the glowing tats, which I think made it. I don't think it works as well without a 4-up DPR. But yeah, fair play. Smashed it. And it sounds like, looking at all the pictures online and stuff, everyone had a great time. Doing the Super Series, Rob, it's just as much about getting a load of like-minded people in a room together, isn't it, really? And having a...
So it's what we're here for. We're here for fun and adventures in Age of Sigmar. That's what we're here for. Like, and like, very much like, you're like, what the fuck are those lists? Because honestly, and I mean that in all seriousness, what the fuck are those lists that he had to play against to get there? But that's awesome. Like, when you say, what the fuck are those? That's great. It's great that that's part of the process, in my opinion. I love that. Like, I like that people just trying their hardest with whatever they can try and put together. Like, and I think that that's fun. So more of this. More of this is what I'm going for. More of that. Well done, boys. And do you know what? Fucking well done to Chris and the lads, actually, from the podcast for running the event. So Chris, Welfare, and James for doing the Mortally Wild podcast, because it's going to cause issues. Some people are going to be pissy about it. Some people are going to be on the other side. But they're like, do you know what? I just want people to come and have fun, create some stupid monsters, and have a great time. Fucking well played, lads. I'd not have done it, but I'm really happy that they did.
Shit, man, I would have loved to, been there playing.
Like, I've never been to a Psytrance night, Owen, right? But I'm glad people, like, make them. Do you know what I mean?
You're missing out, bruv. You are missing
You've been to one? I've never been to a Psytrance night. Or did you do all the neon colours all over and do the whole dancing?
Come on, man. I grew up in, like, the wilds of Wales. Psytrance weekends were, like, 2 a penny, really. Are we going to go camping, or are we going to go and get messy at a Psytrance event? That was kind of like the decision every weekend.
Why not both? That's the real. Let's put that jam and girls together. Hey, Elite 4 Blue, love you. Great seeing you in the chat. Missed you. And like Iron Gutsman says, kind of fun to do an Anvils of event before it gets binned in AOS 3. I think that's super fair as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, do you want to know about my event?
Yes, please.
So this is ACO, Atlantic City Open, organised by Not the Murderer, Martin Orlando. Yeah, that's who we've got. You didn't laugh, I'm so proud of you. Right, there were 72 players. I love that guy. I fucking love you, Martin Orlando. 72 players, 5 rounds, yeah. In first place, I don't have the name of the first place player. It's very hard to navigate BCP, which is really stressful because I'm using it for my personal events, the Honest Wargamer events at TSN Arena. So hate that. Anyway, in first place, if anyone has got this, is an oh god, I'm gonna have to say the words, aren't I? Auralan Legion. Auralan Legion. Lumineth Realm Lords. This, and this is the important point. They have got. They're not in Sire. They were in Ilithia or Ilithia, if I haven't said it before. Now there's 40 Sentinels, 60 Wardens, 2 units of 5 Dawn Riders. No steroids. Dawn Riders, and they've got Twin Stones, and they've got 2 Cathalars, so no techless, so minus techless, but it's got this 40 Sentinels. And I think one of the interesting points about the Sentinels, the Wardens, by the way, were split up into 2 20s and 2 10s. Love that. I think that's really nice as kind of a disposition, because I think that's one of the things you got to kind of ask yourself, and that's why I love no techless, just more threats, right?
Yes. Hey Rob, one thing, I hate to spoil your thunder. That Ilithia list was winning after day 1. It didn't win the event.
Am I wrong?
You are wrong, I'm afraid.
Well, where's my fucking thing then? Oh, flip! I did so much research. Oh, have you got the info now?
Yeah, I do have the info. Okay. I don't need that.
Ignore me. Go on then. Look how many notes. Full of notes.
Sorry, Rob.
Who came first then? Fuck it, we'll skip it. But Big Jables, I'm just going to go straight to the narrative things. Big Jables, my friend from the Rage Sigmar podcast, he won Best Sports. And then my other good friend, Joe Pagano, won Best Painted.
I feel like such a dick. I'm like the ultimate actually. Like live in the middle of your show.
I'm fucking wrong, so just go for it. Tell me.
So Barrack Zilfin won. With he had an Aether Chemist, an Endred Master with dirigible suit, and then he was basically
Iron Sky Command.
Yeah, Iron Sky Attack.
Warp Vortex.
And an Ironclad. You got it.
And an Ironclad. Sweet. Did he upgrade to the fucking cannon?
He had the battle ram, which gives him like an ogre charge.
Oh, nice. That's good.
But yeah, it's two frigates and an Ironclad, a few units of Arcanaut Company. So it was like low drop, all the guns, Vortex in the middle. Let's go. Sounds pretty horrible. And yeah, he won all of his games. That was Mr. Gavin Greigar from Harambe's Heroes. Won all of his games. And then there was another 5-0, Rob, which is Anthony Trentinelli with Slaves to Darkness, Knights of the Empty Throne, Rob.
Yeah, so, it was the one that was in Plague Touch Warband, right?
Yeah, and I think that might be one of the first 5-0s for that list. Just sneaking it in before the end of AOS 2. So yeah, he was 2 battle points down to 2 battle points less than the Zilfin list. But yeah, that's Anthony Trentinelli from the Raptor Magic Club. So yeah, good for him. But then, interesting look, Rob, they didn't have Gravelords in yet because they don't have an FAQ. So
nice work, Martin. Great shout. No FAQ, no play. That's me. Some people are like holding up placards like no justice, no peace. I'm there, straight up. No FAQ, no play. Every event. I've been protesting for months, but no events have been on. It's been useless.
So with that in mind, a legend called Nate Trentinelli. Oh, he might be the brother of Anthony Trentinelli. We might have a bros like high-fiving each other on the podium here because
that's fucking great.
Legion of Blood, Rob. Legion of Blood went 4-1 and
nice.
came in third. Yeah, so
Blood Knights in 3 10s.
I think it had 2 10s and a 5, if I'm not mistaken, and 4 Tomb Banshees. I think it was that mad list. Yeah, I think it was a pretty mad list. Oh, there we go. Crazy Horse in the chat. I played Nate in round 3, and it was so much fun. Yeah, nice. if Crazy Horse could confirm, I think it's that list with 4. Oh yeah, he had 80 Chain Rasps, 4 Tomb Banshees, and then a load of Blood Knights, and maybe a Vampire Lord. But yeah, fair play. It is cool when somebody has their like swan song. I'm going to take this army out. It's the last time. I love this army. It's going to go away, and then they rock up with a podium. Props.
Ooh. Amazing work. Congratulations. That's really cool, especially the brothers doing it. Do you think they play a lot of practice games against each other to try and like build up the reps?
Yeah, you'd imagine so. Imagine if you you and your bro just had a table at home and you could just play all the time, right? You hear stories about the Myhill brothers playing all the time, and that's why you get good at Warhammer.
There's a 40K sports house. The Art War guys all live together and play Warhammer with each other all the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it like a fraternity?
Yeah. I imagine they have bunk beds just like a true Warhammer house.
Yes, and Snoop Dogg plays at their like little frat party, and then Will Ferrell goes.
Will Ferrell's there running through naked. What a fucking adventure that must be.
So just a shout out now to a few people who also got some good 4-1s. So your boy Joe Cryer taking the Helon Nation. He went 4-1. A chap called Joseph Urban went 4-1 with a boulder.
No, not a chap called Joseph Urban. The Joseph Urban, fucking legend that is, amazing human being. So,
oh wow, okay.
Did you do it with his more tribes?
He did. Boulderhead More Tribes 4-1.
Yes, Uncle Joseph. He's a great guy. Really great guy. Really, really good.
Another great guy that I recognise the name of is Corey Mckinney. I believe that he might be a Canadian player. He came to quite a few of my TTS events, and he ran a Legion of the First Prince to 4-1. And then rounding out the 4-1s, James O'Brien, not the left-wing sort of media commentator from LBC, a different James O'Brien. He he took a Daughters of Cain Hagnar list, and he's from the Left Coast Corsairs. And yeah, he went 4-1 and came in 4th. So listen to that for a top 7.
Okay, good for me. Wait, so the top bracket is 2, right? 5 and O's are.
We had 2 5 and O's, and then on my screenshot that I've got here, I've got 6 4-1s or 5 4-1s. Okay. So we've got Lumineth, Realm Lords, Helon, Boulder Headmore Tribes, Legion of the First Prince, Slaves to Darkness, Daughters of Cain Hagnar, Legion of Blood, Slaves to Darkness, Knights of the Empty Throne, and then Caradron Overlords. So yeah, no Seraphon up there, no Zinch.
No Zinch.
No IDK.
No DOK. DOK? No DOK?
Yeah, just the one Hagnar in 4th.
Right. Okay.
So sure. Yeah. But hey, did you see the pictures of the event? There was lots of like tournament envy going on, wasn't there? You know, loads of space, loads of good terrain, and then the prize support seemed to be pretty good, right?
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty phenomenal. Sometimes you were winning like $400 or $500 worth of stuff in prize support. It was pretty wicked. So I think that's really, really impressive. It looked like a great event. Like, looked like people were having loads of fun. Like tables were spaced out really nice. Like looked really cool. So I think big shout out to the organisers, and Martin was running that event. I think so. Big shout out to him. And then it kind of looked like one of those big American events that you are jealous of, right? You know, it's in like a big air-conditioned like function room of a big hotel, and there'd be lots of like really nice food and drinks, and I can imagine it was a good time. I'd love to get over to one of those big American events. See, I've been to Adepticon, right? Like I could leave it. You feel lost. I felt lost. Like this. Like again, people obviously love them because they spend loads of money going to loads of these events, and they're very much loved. They're wicked. And I also don't want to play in like a crap school hall. So I also don't want to go like slumming it like we did back in the day in Warhammer Fantasy Battle days. But I just sometimes think that those like huge mega events, sometimes you get like a bit lost in the crowd. That's what I'm trying to say. Like that's how I kind of felt. But whatever. Like,
you're like one of the 3 bears, aren't you? You're so bloody picky. No, this event's a little bit hot, and this event's a little bit cold, but this one right here, this one's perfect. Just right. This one's just. Oh.
Anyway, fine. Yeah, all right. Noted and taken. So I won't listen to that. I won't make that complaint again. But looked like a great event, right?
Hey man, people get to play Warhammer with friends, old and new, all around the world, and I'm jealous and happy for them in equal measure. So good on you, peeps, and shout out to all the TOs putting on these events. So I know that Martin was really keen to make a massive success of that and put a lot of work into it. So good on you, Martin.
I'm Nathan, sure if you start calling me Goldilocks all the time, I'm gonna be fucking livid. Owen,
yes. Remember it now. We started right here.
Carry on.
Rondylocks.
Rondylocks. Shut up. Oh my god. Okay. What's the next one?
As if by magic, we're going to now shoot and fly. Imagine our carbon footprint if we were actually doing this reporting live. We've flown from Australia all the way over to Atlantic City, and now we're going to fly back to New Zealand here. So this was the Age of Sigmar event at NICon. In a place called Hutt in New Zealand. I'm sure it wasn't in a hut in New Zealand. I'm sure it was in a bigger...
No guarantees, though.
Bigger premises than a hut. But yes, it's a place called Hutt, Hutt. And this is Aidan Nicole. Now, I've seen Aidan on Twitter quite a bit. I think he's putting on quite a lot of events at the moment. So props to Aidan for supporting the community. This was 26 players playing a 2-day event over, five games of Age of Sigmar. So yes, and this was won by not necessarily a show regular, but certainly somebody that's come on the show quite a bit, Rob, and somebody that you really enjoy listening talk about Warhammer. So Sean Tubbsman.
Tubbsy! Yeah, sure. What an incredible human being, and no messing about. Also, nice back-to-back. So this is the Notorious AOS podcast, if you guys want to go listen to those boys. Back-to-back, you've had Big Sean take out an event, and now Tubbsy's come back and taken out his event. So it's a double Tub meta. And also followed up by a Super Series event at the weekend. Obviously, we have Matt Grace, who's also a New Zealander as well. So New Zealand boys, wherever they go, part of the I mean, in New Zealand they're obviously going to win most of the time, but anyway, great guy.
Yeah, well, obviously, it's quite a small country, but they're developing, and they obviously play a lot of Warhammer, so these boys are taking it out. So I think Sean's sort of his synopsis of the weekend and how his path to victory was quite succinct. I did really appreciate that. I'm not sure how family friendly it is, so maybe we'll kind of do a slightly different approach. But yeah, he did 5-0, and this was when the doc book came out, before I sold my daughter's army, I was going to play something like this, because it's not all in shooting like the Calibron list. It's got some pretty horrendous combat. So he was playing Keltnar, which I think this is the first time we've maybe seen Keltnar do really, really well. I know Liam Burnett Blue's been running a really good Keltnar list over in Australia. But yeah, so this is a 4-drop based around the Viperic Guard. So he has Marathi Kane and the Shadow Queen, and then he has a Hag Queen on a Cauldron of Blood, who's got a 5-up DPR from the artifact, and then a Blood Mat Producer who makes all of the snakes battle line. So he has 15 bow snakes, rampant bow crime, Rob, shooting for days, and then 2 units of 5 combat Blood Sisters, and then 10 Witch Elves and 10 Canary Life Takers. So this is Keltnar, which is the whole army retreats and charges, Rob.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so basically, I think that this is the most destructive version of the Shadow Queen you can build, because if you get Mind Razor and Catechism off, then she's effectively Ren 3 with Heart Render on the charge, and damage. I think the damage goes up as well. And then you've got Exploding Sixes, and then obviously bow snakes shooting in the hero phase, and then moving and shooting in the shooting phase. And so he's got like this scalpel, applied damage, a huge beat stick that you can just throw off, and then the 10 Life Takers, they can do a hell of a lot of work on the charge as well, right? And they've got a 14-inch flying move. I really like this, and I do really like the Circling Flock. We've talked about the Fanged Circlet for the Zeech Host Arcanum, giving you those free Screamers.
Yep.
The Circling Flock gives you a unit of free Kinnerai. And one thing that's quite cute is that if you're up in the mission and you're playing quite well or whatever, and you don't need to drop them down early, you can actually drop them down turn 5, because it's a summon and not a drop down off the board. So, you've got some really serious late game play with that. But Tubbs with Keltnar smashing it, and he was the only 5-0 at the tournament.
Incredible. I mean, he's still going to be a menace in Age of Sigmar 3. Everything we know about Age of Sigmar 3 right now, and obviously, some of this stuff changes around, like Plague Touch, you won't see that anymore. So how's Kotek going to change? We're pretty certain we're going to see pretty drastic changes generally to all armies anyway via FAQs and other stuff. So a lot for the kind of ground to kind of settle. But it's going to be so fun doing the stat center over the next 6 months as people are relearning the edition, they're relearning the armies. New units are going to become kind of like the pinnacle. I thought our show next week, Owen, we could kind of like say like a goodbye, a last hurrah, if you will. We'll kind of update any events that happen that next weekend, and then just kind of say, like goodbye to terrors gone maybe, or things that stood out. That would be really fun. But yeah. I think the Marathi and the Bow Snakes are going nowhere.
No.
Is the point. If anything, they're better. Shoot, from what we know so far, shoot that you can take a max unit of 15, because you can have them as battle line if you take the Iron Scale as the general. Of course, you can shoot in the hero phase thanks to Marathi's command ability. Shoot in the shooting phase with +1 attack thanks to all-out attack, the new generic command ability. With +1 to hit, which is not good, so that's 2s and 3s. That sucks. And then if you charge them, they're going to get a shoot in the charge phase, which is -1 to hit, but still pretty nice.
Yeah, it doesn't matter with 6s or mortal wounds, the -1 to hit, right?
It doesn't. So that's a lot of shooting.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that is going to change, pour a cold one out for change host Rob, because Alexander Sinclair, he came in second at this event with a Tzeentch Eternal Conflagration change host. So we've seen it all over both TTS and in real life events. The change host teleport is like a massive part of that list and how it works, and getting that one drop. Alexander Sinclair got a 4-1 with his Tzeentch list.
Hey, well done.
And then in third was Bo Patterson. I think he's kind of like the premier Deepkin player in New Zealand. His name comes up a lot. I think
he's been doing really well recently as well, right? Like he's taken out quite a few events. Like his name keeps coming up at the moment. Yeah.
And he was running a Dom Haim list, so the kind of anti-monster tech list. Which and again he got a 4-1. I'm gonna have a quick little look now. Let's do it live. So let's see what Tubbs. Yeah, he actually. So Sean beat Bo in his fourth game, and then he beat Alexander. Yeah, so Sean, he beat the players in second and third place to get his top. So he cleaned up. Actually, he got 100 tournament points as well. So he maxed out 20-0 every game.
Wow, that's impressive.
So yeah, I think it would be interesting to actually see what Tubbs has got to say about this, because to not drop a point all weekend. I can see now why he was so bullish on the internet, Rob, because you would be after not dropping a point, right?
You would be after not dropping a whole point. I think also sometimes there's some clarity and beauty in concise statements. I've got to say.
Yes.
I've got to say. I think that's really helpful. So again,
I could learn a lot from Tubbs in that case, because I ramble on here every day. Well, some days.
No, we like you rambling on. Can we get some love for Owen in the chat, please? Stop it.
Also, I think we kind of given a little overview, but there's also, I'm sure there's lots in these lists that we're missing. So if anybody wants to contact me and let me know what I've missed out on some secret tech here and there, then
imagine how much secret tech there's going to be in the next edition of stuff. It's going to be crazy. I'm looking forward to it. So that was New Zealand, right?
Yes, that was New Zealand. So we've crossed the globe, and that was the three main events that I was able to pick up on this weekend, apart from the Super Series, obviously, Rob.
Huge shout out, of course, to the Bad Moon Loons for taking out an event against the Dragon Slayers. A excellent second place team. Very much looking forward to them returning. Lots of things to learn from the Super Series. Loads of things that you can go back and watch. We saw Gargants play a lot, and I think my feeling about Gargants kind of was settled. I got to say, I kind of undulated up and down about Gargants. Knights of the Empty Throne, actually, you can see where they are weak. Actually, versus maybe an Archeon build, and I think very interesting that we saw someone this weekend go 5-0 with them. So I think that's very, very impressive with that Plague Touch Warband Knights Empty Throne. So that throws even more in. Lots to break down. I'm going to do a whole show on it. I think about learned experiences from those particular games. Not sure how relevant they'll obviously be with the new edition on the way, but some incredible games, some just stupendous moments. I think that's kind of fun. Big moments, people kicking objectives, running over crawlers with big mega gargants, as much as that was really fun. Some really, really, really fun stuff. And excited to see what something like the next Super Series will bring. But of course, I mean, it's a pretty grueling. Actually, from a tournament format, I haven't really thought about it before, Owen. How do you feel about the fact? So the winning team went through 9 rounds as a team to get through to the final. So they had to best they had to best 3 teams, I guess. But they went through 9 rounds. That's pretty grueling, actually, as a setup, right?
Yeah, it is. I suppose it's like anything in life. When you do something a lot over quite a short period of time, you get that real concentrated knowledge, don't you? And you become very au fait with your list. And I think you could see that with a player like Tom Gilboy. His list didn't really change through the course of the event. There were some few tweaks, and he was so decisive and so confident with the way that he was playing, and he did take some risks. But seeing those players, imagine that. Some people don't play 9 games of competitive Warhammer with a list in a year, whereas he played 9 games in a month. And then you conversely you contrast that against maybe the players who are having to chop and change their armies quite a bit, and they were having to adapt a bit more.
But then that's where you bring something like Andy Hughes into account again. So he had to go he went 3-0 with his Fire Slayers, then he went 3-0 with his OCR Bone Reapers, and then unfortunately went 2-1 with his Legions of Nagash. But again, you get to kind of really understand play style. Like if you were a new person, you're like, how do you like to play? You would have this, do you like this slow, methodical grind army? And you could kind of watch Andy play and you could replicate that, which is very, very different to Tom Gilboy. Again, both of those 8-1 players over the course of the Super Series, where they have this very kind of I'm going to force an engagement early. You're going to have to come to me. You're going to have to miss me. And then similar, we saw a lot of the same Seraphon-ish lists, but we saw them played definitively differently. We saw them played very differently by lots of different people, and I think that actually, again, you had some sort of more castle builds that were more defensive. You saw some aggro plays, just some very fun. When you condense all of those games into quite a small window of time, then very much like when we do the stat center. So when we go and look at okay, another Marathi Bowsnake list is doing well in New Zealand. Of course, it's also doing well in Australia. There's another one that's doing well here. We had Henrik who played here. He went 3-0 with them. Once you start to see that, you can kind of generate these trends. But when you get it all condensed into one place, you can really start to see okay, there's this consistent play style that does quite well with this particular army, or there's a play style that you can replicate across multiple armies. I think that's fascinating and something we could talk about forever. But yeah, congratulations obviously to Bad Moon Loons winning the event. So we finished up this weekend, so that was a good one, but didn't need talking about. You should all know. I hope.
I think it would be remiss not to just at least give 5 minutes on the stats show, right? Because it was a pretty great event. And then looking forward, Rob, it's a bit of a quiet one this weekend. Mm-hmm. We do have been contacted. There's been Duncan, who's known as the Piss Poor General. He has been he put on a sort of a GT event which was based around multiple heats that you qualify for. So I know that you'll kind of like this format because you're kind of building to a crescendo. So yeah, this is the Little Bo Peep GT Heat 3 this weekend. So he's been battling through and obviously abiding by all the COVID rules and trying to get this sort of series of Age of Sigmar events sort of through. And Heat 3 is on Sunday, and then the winners from the heats and also the top scoring players from the previous rounds all will then be meeting in a grand final. So we're going to touch on this maybe in a bit more detail next week when we get all the results in. But he's his very own stat center, Duncan. He sent me so much information that I need to process because he's got meta breakdowns and all sorts. So yeah, I think as a little snapshot of an event which kind of went almost all the way through AOS 2. I think next Monday we'll have a little chat about the Little Bo Peep GT, and we'll see who's qualified and have a look at some lists perhaps. But that's coming up this Sunday. Yeah, this Sunday.
We will. We also have got we've got an event here at the Honest Wargamer HQ. Actually, we have two. We have a singles event. We have Barbarians Brawl, which is our 16-man singles event here, which is going to be really fun. And then on the Saturday, we have the Tribes event, which is 4-man teams of 4 playing versus each other in a kind of Super Series style format. You'll be pairing cards. There's no ban phase or anything like that, but just 4 teams of 4 playing it out over the course of the weekend, which will be really fun. I love that. It's always a really fun format. Nice for that's going to be really fun. Teams. We've got some team logos going on, a bunch of different stuff. So yeah, that's here. So that's going to be really good as well. And Rema Knight's bit, I know I'm going to try and help you out. We've been using BCP. More on my review of BCP as a TO soon. Not positive will be the response.
What's it? Is it bloody crap pairings? Is that what it's called?
Wow, Owen, you finally got off a fence. That's nice.
I'm joking. I think it's one of those things. It's like anything. Once you get to know, I wasn't sure about how to use down under pairings, but I've got into it. I've got used to the system. I know how it works, and the information is all in there. Yeah, fence hammer, nice one, Scribs. So that's pretty exciting. So what, you've got singles and doubles. Also, I think I'm not
singles
sure.
and teams. Singles
and teams. I think there might have been an event in a Rising Sun GT maybe at the weekend. Gutsman. Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure if we'll have a chat with Stuart. If Stuart wants to send me some information,
we can talk about it next week, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he was running his Archaon and Glutos Zinch list, and obviously making loads of new friends with that over there.
Okay, yeah, we should talk about that. How many ITC points did the winner of the Super Series get? 0. Doesn't need to be a part of that. All right, well, exciting. So next week will be kind of a wrap-up of the competitive Age of Sigmar 2 season and series. I'll bring you. We'll get these stats overlays all sorted so we can kind of have like a final look and declare a winner. Maybe say some goodbyes to our battalions that died. Going into Age of Sigmar 3, so I've got those written out as well, so that'll be fun. So do join us for like a fun kind of final, and then probably it's going to be we'll probably have to pause a little bit. We'll still do the Monday show, of course, but there probably might not be results for a few weeks up to a month as people are kind of kicking around. I know there's some Age of Sigmar 3 events planned, and there might still be some Age of Sigmar 2 stuff to talk about. I like Aegis, the AOS Worlds is coming up, but for some reason they're playing 2nd edition, so give a fuck. To be honest, because we want to get on with what's hot and new, right? Like we want to where we at, and you list writers out there, and all you other people, I want to hear about it. So if you guys are running like an Age of Sigmar 3 event somewhere in the world, let us know. It's going to be very exciting. Owen, should we end it there today? We're pretty good.
I think so. Yeah, why not? We've all got, I better go and do my real job for a bit. Boo.
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 Owen,
yeah. So I don't know. I was just going to keep on rambling away, but no, it's nice to be back. Sorry, I mean, you know me. I would have done these shows every week, but real life getting in the way and all that jazz.
You've been doing great, and we all love you being here. Thank you. Like you're my co-host for the Stats Center. If you're not here, it's just you and me, baby. It's just me. Like that's what we're doing, yeah. We're gonna get. I'm gonna change the overlays at some point. Big refurb coming soon to the Age of Sigmar Stats Center. Big shout out to you. Also, we're designing some gaming tools for people playing Age of Sigmar 3. The Stats Center crew. We'll talk more about that later in the weeks, but we should be able to provide you guys with some stat sheets for Age of Sigmar 3, so you guys can download those and use them for yourselves, as well as helping run your own events, and some scorecards and some other little bits which will be helpful for you. So, and that'll all be free stuff that we're just doing to help the community out. So we'll let you know more in the future. Any shout outs you want to give, Owen, before we head out today?
I'll shout out cousin Adam because he's a hero.
Adam Jackson.
And I'll shout out, I don't even know the guy, he doesn't know me, but I just think that Sam Lenz is a lovely man, and I love the way that he does his little painting tutorials. He's like a rock star. If anyone hasn't seen Sam Lenz's, Lenz, his painting and his approach and the way that he motivates the people that watch his little videos, like 10 out of 10, love that guy. So, And what about you, Rob? Are you shouting anybody out today?
Too many people shout out. I did an entire show shouting people out yesterday. Lovers, Ziggy always for helping us with the stats, Superstar, the stats crew helping us fill in all the stats information, just all great people. So anyone, you're all too good. Diadrin actually for making us some tokens recently for Age of Sigmar 3 that we can download and print. Big shout out to him. Anyway, I'm off to read all of Age of Sigmar 3. Very excited. We'll be live later on today at 7 p.m. Me and the crew talking AOS 3. So do join us for that. It's going to be super fun. Love you all. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in to this Wargamer. See you soon.